Hey guys, my name is Lady Pelvic with Pelvic Gaming, and today we're taking it back to 1995, where one of the best JRPGs ever was released. Yes, I'm talking about Suikoden. Throughout this review, I may say Suikoden. I know it's pronounced Suikoden, just bear with me. Honestly, modern JRPGs, namely Tales, just doesn't hold up to me anymore. You know, it's just the same story, same plot. I can just predict it all. You know, and everyone always says that old school JRPGs, PlayStation 1 era, was like the best. I more or less never experienced any of that, so I decided to go back in time and play all these old school JRPGs. Xenogears, this, and I'm even doing a review for Final Fantasy VI. And by playing all these games, I could definitely say so far, you guys are right. Today's JRPGs, nowhere near as fantastic as the PlayStation 1 era. So, let me tell you my non-nostalgic thoughts of Suikoden. You're Tyr McDole, the son of the great general Tio McDole, preparing to have an audience with the Emperor. With rumors of a rebellion army spreading, the Emperor sends your dad to the north border to stand guard, while you join the Imperial Army. Your first day of training starts tomorrow. You're accompanied by servants and friends in the McDole household to take on your tasks, one which leads you to a cave with a formidable opponent. Unable to defeat it, your best friend Ted uses an incredible magic power and destroys the creature. The power is noted by one of the Imperial superiors, and Ted is brought to the Emperor. Fast forward, and Ted is wounded at your doorstep. The McDole home gets swatted with Imperial guards. Ted asks you to take on this great burden while he distracts the Imperials. He gives you a rune called the Soul Eater, and the bearer will deal with a great amount of pain and suffering. You're not really left with another choice other than to accept and make your escape with the servants of the McDole home, and rise as a leader of the rebellion army to thwart the corruption within the Empire. The gameplay. Whoo boy, oh my gosh, where do I begin? Okay, first let's talk about the characters. Building your army is essentially a huge side quest. Finding the 108 Stars of Destiny. A general rule of thumb is anyone who has a portrait can be recruited. These characters don't look like the average Joe and have different requirements to joining. Some will only join your cause if person A is in your active party. Some will join after you reach a certain level, or fetch them certain items. It's actually kind of comical how easily people will openly join your rebellion. Hello, visually unique looking NPC woman. Would you like to join my rebellion? I love doing laundry, and a rebellion seems like it would have plenty of laundry to do. But I'm all out of soap. I'll tell you what, if you get me some soap, I'll join your rebellion. Gotcha covered. Oh, I just found some soap. Sorry about that. Well, I'll join your rebellion anyways. I kid you not, that's how some of these recruitments went. I want to make it perfectly clear, there is no shame in using a guide. Collecting all 108 stars first playthrough is hardly impossible without. Now, not everyone you recruit is a combatant. Some are passive members who sell you items, appraise mystery items, equip runes, sharpen your weapons, etc. I do challenge you to collect as many as you can without a guide, simply because it tests your JRPG survival skills. For example, I found myself thinking, man, I wish there was a map on the main world. Guess what? There is, but you have to recruit someone to obtain it. So essentially, you could play this entire game without a map. Same thing goes for fast travel or extra storage. And that's what makes this game challenging. This game begs the question, how good of a JRPGer are you that you realize certain key JRPG tools are missing? Combat. This game doesn't teach you a motherfucking thing. It is 100% learn as you go. You know, it's funny because I'm so used to hand-holding. Press X to attack, O to defend. Nope, this game does none of that. First battle and I was like, oh my god, what do I do? Well, attack obviously, and a zoomed in attack means it's critical. And when being attacked, sometimes you're lucky enough to counter, but so can the enemy. Pro tip, sharpen your weapons to level them up or else you will be sorry. You could defend, you could use a rune, which is essentially your magic / special attack, and there's no mana. It's simply, depending on your level, depends on how many uses you have, and what level of magic you have. You could also use items, but know that it's not a shared item pool. Just because person A has the health items doesn't mean person B has access to them. And finally, Unite. Unite, in your 6-party team, you have people who are acquainted with one another. That allows you to use a Unite attack, which is a combo attack. One thing this game did exceptionally well is having excellent level balance. The developers knew working with 108 characters would be a challenge, but they did a fantastic job with making it so everyone grew levels fast. Honestly, I didn't feel it was nearly as grindy as a game with several playable characters would normally be. Something I want to touch up on is the Soul Eater rune. Oh my god, it is the greatest thing ever. Why? Guaranteed insta-kill. Obviously not on bosses, but it only gets stronger and more ridiculous as you progress the story. The Soul Eater is officially one of my favorite video game items ever, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. Two minor gripes was there wasn't very good visual cues for status effects such as sleep. No Z's, their eyes wouldn't close, nada. You'd hear the music slow down and the enemies seem to get hit, but you'd never actually know until the game skips the enemy's turn and it's your turn again.
Oh, yes.
And 2, lack of explanation on spells and status effects, like Clay Guardian raises an ally's defense times 1.5. There's another level of the spell called Copper Flesh, which you'd think based off the animation it did the same thing. Instead, it makes you invincible for 3 turns, so you can't take any damage, and also you can't take any healing. That's important to know because I spent some characters' turns trying to heal someone with Copper Flesh and it ended up wasting their turn. In addition, there is no visual cue if someone is affected with these buffs. You get an initial animation, but nothing saying how much longer the spell is. You, the player, must remember how many turns have passed. Formations are also important. There's an L for long range, meaning they can only do physical attacks from the back row, M means front or back, and S is short range, meaning they must be up front. This is key for formulating proper parties. One thing that sucks is while progressing stories, sometimes a character will join you, forcing you to remove someone from your party. This sucks because the game doesn't show what combat style your new ally is. So you remove a party member and hope that the new recruit fits. Now you can go back and reorganize your party, sometimes, but sometimes not and you're shit out of luck. So not only do you have traditional turn-based battles, but you're at war. Thus, it's only natural that you have army battles, which are awesome. I have never played anything like this and I was so entertained. You have 4 options. 3 work as the rock, paper, scissors effect, which are charge, bows, and magic, all pretty self-explanatory. Charge beats bows, bows beats magic, magic beats charge. The 4th option is other, which are special maneuvers such as convincing the enemy team to join your team, or learning what their next move is so you can properly counter. The goal is to get the enemy army to 0 and win the war. Also, characters can die in war. That's when I recommend the restart button, as if you want to get the true special ending, you need to have all 108 stars alive. Then, there is one more type of battle. Duels, which are the most intense, butt-clenching moments ever. It's 1v1 and you have 3 options, attack, defend, and desperate attack. Attack is attack, defend is take less damage against an attack, and desperate attack does a lot of damage if the opponent is attacking you. But if desperate attack is used against defend, you miss and the enemy counterattacks, dealing an insane amount of damage. How you pick your move is your opponent will say a line, hinting to what their next move is. These were amazing moments with intense music, and the camera changing in the heat of battle was nothing short of greatness. To wrap up my thoughts on the gameplay, the biggest problem was the interface, locations of helpful areas, so many inconveniences even after you collected all 108 stars. An example is your castle has 4 floors, a basement and a roof. If you want to save or shop for items, you have to go to floor 1. To manage your storage or sharpen your weapons, you had to go to floor 2. To progress the story or change your party, you had to go to floor 4. Also, you could only swap out your party members by talking to one character. And if that character was busy, there was one other, but if that character was busy, you were stuck until they became available. Fast traveling, you had to go to the basement, select your location, and in order to return, you had to have an item to come back to the basement. Certain things I just found pointless, like having to go to the rune shop and have someone equip a rune. It was a lot of unnecessary walking through your castle. Even if you had an elevator, you still had to make several different stops on 3 different floors each time you return from grinding, and it's incredibly time-consuming. But on the flip side, it's sometimes surprising how direct Suikoden is. Like no combat tutorials, how easily people join your rebellion, and how you rest at an inn. It's just a quick 2 seconds black screen and you're back in action. No resting animation, no music, just black, now you're back. And I loved it. Like, I find it so weird how this game is illogically time consuming, but at the same time, it's quick to get to the point. So I've rambled on long enough about the gameplay. Let's move on to the graphics, which I instantly fell in love with. Why? Because it reminded me of my first JRPG, Phantasy Star 4. It was love at first sight, as it's not a secret that I love pixel art. The animations were so charming, and you could clearly see the characters' movements and expressions, especially in battle. I was so impressed the characters had an animation for attacking, being attacked, same with enemies. And when your character was low on health, they took a knee. Now what kinda took me back was the army battles, cause they all look like little ants. Even the sounds they made were really cute, when you heard arrows flying or swords clashing. The graphics weren't bad, not in the slightest. Even after you won, the little people jumped for joy and raised their weapons in victory. They really did an awesome job. Even with the environment, seeing the rain come down, or even something as simple as seeing a reflection on the marble floors of the palace were great touches. Character portraits had some age, but still held up. The character design for all the 108 stars were brilliant. It was very easy to pinpoint a unique figure. And finally, the music. This isn't a JRPG that stood out to me in terms of music. Not bad, just nothing like crazy memorable. This is probably my weakest segment because I don't have much to say. The battle themes were fine. You had a regular battle theme, a boss battle theme. Each town had their own theme, but I felt there were so many towns and you moved so quickly that the music just kind of got jumbled up to me, so I don't remember like, oh, this music brings me back to this town. Something I'm just throwing in here is that dragons sounded like elephants. I don't know why, but I was just thoroughly amused by this. I thought it was hilarious. Anyways, after going through the entire OST, I think the Black Forest is my favorite, which is the first dungeon area you visit. The music sets you up for adventure and mystery. It's your first day as an Imperial soldier, and you don't know what to expect while entering this forest. Like, you really didn't, considering this game did not do tutorials. Enjoy the Black Forest. Suikoden is a simple game that blew away my expectations. That's why I give it a 9 out of 10. Now I understand this game came out in 1995, but traveling the different layers of your castle to prep for the next mission, way too time consuming, way too frustrating. You had to do it so frequently that it just sucked the fun out of this game. Prepping before a mission is fine, just have it in one central location, please. Aside from that, this game is spectacular. The 3 types of battles, the ambitious quest of collecting 108 stars of destiny, the awesome power of the Soul Eater, the adventure was extraordinary. This game wasn't so much about the story as it was the journey, and for under 30 hours, you get an unforgettable campaign. I highly recommend you play this PlayStation 1 classic if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Top box is more reviews, and the bottom box is my Let's Play channel. Love and appreciate the support. Mwah. Now, I will be playing Suikoden 2, which I hear is the best one, when I get a moment. So many games and not enough time to play them all.